Hey friends, it's your boy BigTCGFan coming at you with another video, and today we're going to go back to Magic the Gathering for my Decklist series. This time, however, we are going to Commander, aka EDH, and the deck that I'm going to be sharing with you is my Wall deck. This is one of my personal favorite decks. I like it merely because, as I've stated several times before, I am a filthy casual, and this is probably the casual of casualist decks in the history of casual decks. As you can see, my commander, who I chose because I've always wanted to make a wall deck, and when they released him I was very excited. The reasons why is its flying, defender, and most importantly is its ability. When it enters the battlefield, I choose left or right, and each player can only attack in the direction that I chose. So it's a great way to control who's hitting me and for what. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the deck. I'll explain a little bit about it, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so first thing, we have 6 planes. I have 35 total lands, and hopefully that's obvious why I have 6 planes in there, because it's one of the 3 colors. Next, we have 6 islands, also one of the 3 main colors, and then mountains. I have 6 of those as well. Alright, so in order to help me get my land, the land that I need when I need them, I have a Terramorphic Expanse and an Evolving Wilds. I have a Temple of the False God. I have this card merely because it's pretty awesome. You know, 5 lands, you get double mana. So I have a Haunted Fengraf to help me get back a wall if I want. Next, I have an Exotic Orchard. Generally, I only play multiplayer casual, so usually someone else on the table will have one or all of my colors. Next is the Classic Command Tower. I think it's required in almost every non-mono white EDH deck, or non-mono colored EDH deck. We have the Mystic Monastery. It comes into play tapped, which kind of sucks. I try to avoid those, as you've noticed. But it has all 3 colors, so it's awesome. Next, I have 3 custom Zendikar variants of the dual lands. I know they're not official, legal, or whatever, but I don't really care. I just think they're beautiful. I'm not going to put $200 cards in here if I don't have to, especially since I have small children running around. Next, I have Teo, the Shield Mage. I just thought this was really funny because he's the only Planeswalker that does anything with walls, and since it's a wall deck, I think he was pretty much required to go in here. Now we're going to get to the actual walls, so they're part of the deck. So this right here is just a 0/4 wall, but it has banding, which is a really awesome ability. I'll explain it in a bit. 1 mana 0/4 wall. I like this wall because it has a lot of buffing abilities. You can use any color mana to buff its attack or defense. Plus, I can actually have it to do damage against creatures that are hitting me. Very useful, especially like if you're dealing with like the 1/1 assassins that the Vraska Planeswalker makes. Oh, you lose the game. I just pay 3 mana and I prevent that from happening entirely, which is pretty awesome. I have a Brimstone Trebuchet. I have a bunch of walls that have like minor little abilities that aren't really great overall. But you'll be amazed how many times you get an opponent down to 1 life, and then I can just merely tap 1 and watch that opponent die. No knights in the deck, so it's just a one-time thing, but hey, whatever. Another wall that you can use to buff. This one costs a little more than the other walls because you can use any color mana for that, such as this wall, which is just straight fire breathing. And you'll notice they have a low cost and a high, decent toughness for what they're doing, and that'll come into play later. Then we got the Wall of Lava, which is the same exact cost, but instead of just 1/0, it's 1/1, which is pretty awesome. Then the Wall of Stone is just a big beater wall. Move on to blue. This wall right here is probably one of the most important walls in the deck because there are instants and sorceries that can really save my biscuit, and this wall helps me get them back. Next, we have the Wall of Frost, a big beater wall, but also if it blocks something, they can't untap it next turn. Then probably the best wall in the whole deck, the Fog Bank. I can block and block and block and block for days with this wall. Then we have the Thunder Wall. It's another wall that can be buffed, which is pretty handy. We go to the Wall of Stone Identity, probably the 2nd best wall in the deck, maybe even the best. It's pretty close between it and the Fog Bank. This wall is amazing because when it comes in, I can copy one of their creatures, and then their creature stays tapped, so it's pretty sweet. So it does 2 things at once. Wall of Runes, I picked this one merely because it's 1 cost and 1 blue, and it costs Scries. Then you got the Wall of Swords. Flying is pretty important. A lot of people ignore flying, but this deck most definitely does not. Wall of Omens. Card draw is important in Commander. Alright, I picked this wall because of the blues cost 1 less to play because I have a lot of blue spells in here, so that'll be very useful. Wall of Caltrops. I just picked this wall first because it has bandings. Also just because I really thought it was kind of cool because it's from Legends. Angelic Wall, another flying wall. It's merely because it can fly is in there. Alright, this wall, Cathedral Membrane's in here because if it dies, I can do 6 damage to a creature that it blocked and kill that creature. Alabaster Wall, this is like the same with the one wall where you tap to do damage. This one can prevent 1 damage, so that's why it's in there. Wall of Faith, this wall is great at blocking, obviously 0-1 to its defense. Wall of Denial, probably the nicest multicolor wall because of the fact that it has Shroud. Then we go into some of the trickier cards. The Glyph of Life, it's a wall-specific card that what it does is if something big hits, I can block with a wall and boom, I gain life instead of lose it. Great against like when they're trying to fatal you. Oh, Warmonger's Chariot, this is just fun because it makes it so one of your walls can attack. This is my alternate win con, which is to attack with the walls. This is pretty handy because you can see what it does is it assigns the toughness rather than power for damage, which turns walls into powerhouses pretty quickly. Animate Wall, just to make a wall so it can attack. Great with like the 3/5 flying wall. Rolling Stones, this is the OG walls can attack enchantment. You'll notice there's several enchantments in here and there's a purpose for that you'll see later. Fortified Area, now this is where we talk about banding. What banding does is normally when a person attacks you and you block with multiple creatures, the attacker gets to designate where the damage goes. With banding, since I had multiple banded creatures together, I get to decide how the damage goes. It's a great way to buff off damage without losing your creatures. Alright, so this is the deal with troublesome enchantments or artifacts, disenchant. Oblivion Ring is just for dealing with any one specific problem, just get rid of it. Darksteel Indentation does the same thing, but for creatures. Alright, so we have Revoke Existence, Pain in the Butt, artifacts or enchantments go. Path to Exile, get rid of a pain in the butt creature. Now right here is pretty much a one-sided board wipe when I use it. Solar Blaze, because almost all of my creatures' attack is significantly lower than their defense. Alright, I put this card in here, Invoke the Firemind, because it's flexibility. I can either use it to draw cards or take out a pain in the butt creature. It costs a little more, but I find it worth it because of the flexibility. Mass Diminish, this is a great way to almost one-sidedly board wipe an opponent. Yes. It'll also keep people from attacking you because of the fact it's a sorcery. Alright, Instant Mandate of Peace. This is just, oh, you're about to wipe me out. I end the combat, no damage. Reigns of Power, similar effect. You swap creatures, which is pretty awesome. Alright, so here's where all the enchantments come into play. Because I'll have a whole bunch of enchantments, it makes attacking me really difficult, especially when there's only one player who can attack me, and usually you'll choose the direction of the guy who's a lot weaker than you are. This is the exact same premise with Ghostly Prison, but only does 2 mana instead of number of enchantments. Alright, so now we're into the mana rocks. I have 9 of these mana rocks that I use to help buff up my mana. I like 2-cost ones, that's my preferred. You'll see a couple others. This deck is kind of a budgety deck, so you're not going to see any insane ones. This one's great because the Thought Vessel with no maximum hand size, and it's 2 mana. Soul Ring, I think this is a standard card. I like this one because of indestructibility, even though you have to pay the extra for it. Mana Geode, I like the Scry. Everflowing Chalice is 2-cost, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You can bump it up for more if necessary. Felwar Stone, just 2. Like I said, usually your opponents will have some. I like the Commander Sphere because late game I can draw a card with it. Manolith, I just ran out of good ones. Most of my other decks have the other ones. Is It Sing It? Just a cheap way to get some red and blue mana as needed. Spinning Wheel, I like this one because of the pinch. Oh, I can tap a creature. Might save your butt. Alright, we have 9 counter spells in the deck. This is a wall control deck, so I wanted to have as many as I could squeeze in there. So I got Arcane Denial, Stoic Rebuttal, Memory Lapse, Cancel, Forbid, Spell Crumple, Dissipate, and of course Counterspell. Alright, Mystic Retrieval. Like I said, sorceries or enchantments are very important, so I have this one here, which is awesome because of the flashback. And then we have Call to Mind, does the exact same thing. Alright, and then this card right here is just a great way to get our permanent that's 3 or less back, and then you can flashback it and it doubles it. Pretty awesome. And then here is my primary win con, Approach of the Second Sun. So when you first cast it, you gain 7 life, but then it goes to the 7th card on the deck. And then what happens is you get to cast it again to win the game. And then when I'm locking down the game with all my walls and making it so only the weakest guy can attack me, this is a fun card. Alright, so there you go. That is my Pramilikon Sky Rampart EDH commander deck. I've been playing it for so long I'm used to calling it EDH, so I'll say that a lot. So this concludes my video. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below, share if you can. Peace out.